just so different when you live in a country other than the US. I moved to a tiny country in Europe for the past year, and I am 6 hours ahead of the US. So that means 3 p.m. here is 9 a.m. there. So I have until 3 p.m. every single day to do whatever I want to do.
I regret moving to Costa Rica. It's a beautiful country. I love the nature and wildlife, but moving to a third world country where I don't know the language, I don't have any connections, resources, or opportunities, that didn't make my life any easier.
We were going through the downsizing process of selling everything, moving everything, packing. It was just so much going on, and I feel like I was in such a fog. Now that the smoke has cleared a little bit, now I'm like, dang, like I'm already kind of having regrets of not spending that time with everybody.
Hello everyone, I am your host Breanna Rutter to this video series called What's Going On in the World. I've been seeing a trend on the breakout, and this is all about Americans leaving America. Honestly, for a better life, because inflation here is crazy, the job market is cooked, and just the overall quality of life for a lot of people is beating them down. So much so that they would rather leave the country. Let's watch a couple of clips to see what's going on. I'm going to be sharing my hot takes on this, and I want y'all to do the same below in the comments.
Not depressed, you just live in the US. I moved from the US to Europe, and I plan on never going back. Living here has been so affordable and stress-free. I even had my baby here. It cost me about $1,300 to give birth here, and I got paid $400 by the state to
Some of the average cost I've been seeing in the US medically to give birth is anywhere from $30K to $50K. I've even seen one lady breaking down crying on the internet with a $90K bill for having to have a C-section, a complication with her birth, all the other nuance, and having to stay in the hospital for about a week to a week and a half. That's wild. She only paid $1,300 full cost to give birth to her baby. A lot of people are leaving the country for medical care. Is that something you would consider doing? Do you know someone who's done that? If so, share your experience down below.
have a baby here. It's just such a different culture here. Like, people aren't only centered by their work and their job. You get to actually enjoy life and do things on your own time. And I feel like right now is probably the best time to leave the US. And yes, that's everywhere in the world, but it's just so different when you live in a country other than the US. I moved to a tiny country in Europe for the past year, and I am 6 hours ahead of the US. So that means 3 p.m. here is 9 a.m. there. So I have until 3 p.m. every single day to do whatever I want to do. It's been incredible. So if you can, move out of the US and live in another country, because life is just so much simpler elsewhere. The food is better, the air is cleaner, the education is free, the healthcare is free, and you'll have a lot higher quality of life elsewhere.
Everyone that leaves the US says their stress levels went down, their inflammation went down, and that they were able to have a better work-life balance. Let me know if this is something you've always been interested in and what your thoughts are on it. What country would you move to if you had that choice? Where would you want to live if it's not in the US?
So we only have 2 weeks before we move out of the country and fly to Vietnam. And literally my only regret is that I didn't spend as much time with friends and family. 14 days is not enough to spend time with the people that I love and that I literally probably won't see for another year plus. When we were going through the downsizing process of selling everything, moving everything, packing, it was just so much going on. And I feel like I was in such a fog. Now that the smoke has cleared a little bit, now I'm like, dang, like I'm already kind of having regrets of not spending that time with everybody, more time with everybody, because now I'm just rushing it. I have a lot of...
And that's the thing. If you're going to uproot your family and move to a totally different country, the first thing I assume you're going to feel is that separation from your friends and family. Especially if you have a lot of people in your life that you care about and they care about you. That's going to be so painful, realizing like, I can't just meet up with them on the weekends anymore. I have to actually plan a trip, take multiple flights to get to them. That means I might not see them for another year or 2 or 3. And I think that's what stops a lot of people from relocating, is the fact that they won't really be able to interact with their family like they used to. Like, you're going to have to just get used to just phone calls and FaceTime, because you won't see them in person as much. Would that be a reason for you to stay in the States, even if you wanted to leave the country? Let me know.
followers who are in the process of leaving the country, and I just want to say spend time with your friends and family while you can, because I am getting a little emotional right now. That's my only regret.
My name is Zach. I'm traveling the EU for 3 months, and I'm pretty sure I left the US more or less permanently. And people regularly ask me in my comments, like, do you ever regret coming here? Do you regret, like, anything about it? Do you miss it? And the short answer is no. Like, honestly, no. Every time I look at the news, some crazy crap is happening over back home, and I am just not interested in that. Also, hypothetically speaking, Trump's out, whatever, liberals take over the government, is not going to undo like all of the racism that happens like on a daily basis over there. Like the stuff that I have been subjected to and then experienced, it just is so pervasive that like no amount of whatever repairing, unless nothing's going to change any of that. So it's like,
So to me, it seems like with his personal experience, it could be where he works, where he lives, his experiences, is that he's dealt with a lot of racism throughout his life. And he just wants to go to a country just more accepting of him as a man, as a black man, as a person. Because we have a certain historical reference here where there's this constant underlying racism, discrimination towards black people, for being honest, versus other countries may not necessarily have that same history like American history. So I can conceptualize that when you move to another country that doesn't have that same historical reference, you're probably most likely going to have a different experience being black in other countries. Now be careful what countries you go to, because I've heard some wild things about people not liking seeing darker colored individuals in their areas for whatever reason. I don't know. So you do want to do your research before just packing your bags and moving just because you're sick of America.
yeah, but no, people aren't going to just stop driving their massive trucks, trying to ram you off the road, being hyper individualistic, over consuming, carrying firearms. None of that's going to just change overnight. Being here has been such a breath of fresh air. I made that post about people staring. That was more or less a joke. I don't mind people staring at me because I know people don't mean ill. No one's physically trying to threaten my well-being. People there, when they stared at you, like it was because they were maliciously looking to make you feel uncomfortable and unwelcome. That's why I made that post, because I would go to places like Idaho and people would be like, "You are not welcome here, boy." Well, that was the ethos, and I don't want to be there. I don't have that in me at all. I have kids. My priority is taking care of my children. The things I do miss are being near my family and friends. I totally wish could have them over here. I hope that my family who is talking to me, I have several members of my family who are not speaking to me, but I wish that those people would come over and come see me. I mean, I know that they will, but like, other than that, like, there's really nothing for me back there.
And that's the thing. A lot of people move because they don't feel like they belong. But I think the main reason, if we're being honest, why Americans are leaving the US is because life here is too expensive. It's just so costly. Food, living expenses, car, house, childcare. And then the average wage is not increasing to keep up with inflation. So because of all this government spending and them printing more money, yeah, your paycheck looks bigger on paper, more digits, but it's not going as far as it should. I think the main reason why people should decide if they're going to stay in this country or not long term or in the future is if they don't perceive their quality of life improving and being in this extreme capitalistic society not giving them the type of life they truly want to live. Like some people are really thriving here. Some personalities are fit for the US. Even if you break it down city by city. Some people are happier living in Chicago. Some people are happier living in New York. Different cities bring out certain aspects of your personality. So sometimes you might not need to leave the country. You might just need to move states. Like he was in Idaho and they wasn't really rocking with him, at least in the area he was in. So maybe considering even moving to another state can even give you a breath of fresh air. But you got to have the courage to do so, because you might not be able to move with your other extended family. It might just be you, your partner, your kids. You never know.
You're an American who is considering leaving the country to move somewhere else, make sure that the location you choose isn't based off of fear and lack mentality. I regret moving to Costa Rica. It's a beautiful country. I love the nature and wildlife, but moving to a third world country where I don't know the language, I don't have any connections, resources, or opportunities, that didn't make my life any easier by any means. And now I'm trying to go back and I just wish I didn't leave in the first place.
So she says she moved to Costa Rica because she was scared of what's going on politically in America. Yeah. How's that working out? You left the best country on earth to go live in the jungle, and now you're shocked it's not easier? You don't know the language, don't have a job, don't know anyone, and all because of what exactly? They moved away because of Trump, then picked a place because of the culture and the people. But a few months later, they can't even handle it. Then
I think the biggest thing is culture shock. And that's something you're not going to know or predict or really take serious until you commit. You move, uproot your life, plant yourself in another country, and have to quickly assimilate. You're not going to necessarily blend in depending on how you look and if you look like the locals. But at the same time, you're going to have to learn the language, the lingo. Your palate is going to change. You got to eat foods you normally don't eat. And yeah, the food quality is better, fresher, not mass produced. So it's going to taste a lot more, exciting. But at the same time, your body is in shock. Your brain is in shock because you've changed everything about your environment, your location, the food, the culture, the language. I think that's a big reason why she wants to move back, because fear is always going to remain. You're always going to worry about what you're seeing on the television, the internet, what your friends are talking about, the craziest startling of stories you come across. That's why you got to be careful not to just make a decision on a whim of fear or stress, and really logically look at your life and say, at the trajectory I see my life going, and based on my life goals, does it make sense to relocate? You don't have to give up your citizenship to live in another country, but you have to always usually leave every 90 days or so because of visas, so on and so forth. And it doesn't make sense to pick a country so far away from where you are, because you're going to feel that distance even more. So sometimes you might just need a vacation. You might not need to actually uproot and move to another country. Really, to each their own.
they come back and want to import that same culture here. No thanks. Keep the howler monkeys and bad Wi-Fi where you found them. And here's the truth. Your life didn't get any better because you brought the problem with you. If your worldview is built on fear and hysteria, that follows you no matter what country you move to. You weren't running from what was happening in America politically. You bought into the fear, the fake news, the hysteria. Hopefully when you come back, you spend less time believing headlines and more time realizing we've got it pretty good right here.
A woman who left the United States because she just couldn't stand it. It was so terrible. And guess where she went? She went to Ghana. How in the world anyone thinks life in West Africa, and basically a third world country, is going to be better than the United States? She says, oh, the United States is so terrible. It's so awful. Then she got over there and she's already made a video saying she wants to come home. She says, I'm desperate. It's too expensive over here. I can't get no snacks. I have no food.
That cannot be the only reason why she wants to come back to the States, because she can't get her snacky snacks. I don't know, sir. I feel like maybe you're over dramatizing her experience. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe she did move because the fear tactics were getting to her. The news was constantly putting her in a state of stress. Life here was a lot more straining on her. But her experience in Ghana is going to be totally different than her daily life experience in the US. Me personally, I'm not sure if I would move back to the motherland, meaning I've never been there. So at the same time, yes, I may blend in, of course, with certain countries that are in Africa, but I don't have that connection experience with being there. It would still be a culture shock, even though I am Black. So who knows what her racial background was, because all I heard was liberal woman. I did not hear her ethnic background. But hopefully she was not Caucasian, y'all, because she's going to stick out like a sore thumb no matter where she's at in Africa. Now, if she's in South Africa, of course, she's going to blend in a lot more. They have a bigger population of white people there, especially white people who are actually born there, like got accents and everything. So when you relocate, it really does have to match you culturally. You have to feel comfortable there. You have to be able to assimilate without this fear and worry of you just standing out too much. So maybe she just took a chance and maybe made a rash decision and picked an area in Ghana that was just way more expensive than what she could maintain. Just because you go to a country that may be perceived as third world don't mean that it is. A lot of Africa is developed very well. Beautiful, big, large metropolitan cities. So don't believe the rhetoric of everything you see on TV about kids starving in Africa. No, kids are starving in the US. Have you seen the price of food lately?
There's no electricity. There's no hot water. You have to bribe everybody to get everything you want. I wish everyone who hated America could go live in another country that they think is so much better. And then they would realize the wealth and the freedoms we have here.
The freedoms here are totally different, y'all. One of the main things being the right to bear arms. And another one that's important is the freedom of speech. You don't have that right in a lot of countries, even other developed countries. If you say something a government official don't like, you could be deleted. If you're ever caught with a weapon in a country, you could be imprisoned. It's totally different, the laws are in other countries. We do have it good here, but not everything is good. So I understand why people are leaving for a better life. If y'all enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out my other videos here. And if you want to know how you could be a YouTube content creator like myself, check out my course link in the description. I don't want y'all to miss my next video, so subscribe and turn on notifications, and I'll see y'all next time.